Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is USA Global TV and Radio. We are coming to you live, and we are thrilled to welcome you from around the world. Our show today is the United Kingdom News and Culture. I'm Dr. JACALYN KERBECK, and I'm very proud and honored to be here for episode 119. DIANN Floyd BOEHM has the day off. Hello, DIANN. We are loving all of your beautiful pictures that you are posting. It looks like you're having a fabulous holiday. So continue on, my friend. Joining me are our two expert correspondents from the United Kingdom. It doesn't get better than this, my friends. It doesn't get better than HELENA CHARD and Simon MacDonald. Thank you so much to the two of them for taking their time to be here today and to share the latest and greatest news and updates. Let's welcome them now. HELENA, come on out. Hello.
Hey. How are you?
Ooh,
gosh, where am I? Where am I? What happened?
Wherever you are, I want to get out of this studio and go there. That looks beautiful.
Isn't that beautiful? Wow, I'm in a different place than what I was in a few seconds. How lovely. Thank you for the introduction. It's always a delight to be here, Dr. JACALYN. And you, look at your studio, you creative thing, you.
It's amazing. I didn't even know I was an artist, but apparently I am. So I'm collecting other people's art. All right, let's welcome the handsome Mr. Simon MacDonald. Hello.
Hello. It's nice to be back again. I'm sorry about missed last week. I really am. I brought a note. Oh, dear.
Well, that's okay.
Yes, I like your backgrounds. That's very, very smart. Helena reclining on the beach, and Dr. JACALYN there doing the artistic bit in the studio. Goodness.
I really like this loft. Look how lofty it is. Really, there's so much height in the staircase, and it just looks like a beautiful place where you would be able to create.
Yeah, indeed.
It's amazing.
Stand up, but
I have to say.
So there's been a lot of news, of course, as always, and I don't know how much of it is true or not true. But, I also wondered when rumors are started, and I don't know if you know this game when you were a child, Whisper Down the Lane, and by the time it got to the last person, it was completely changed. But when there are rumors, aren't there legal ramifications from whomever it is that started them, if they can be pinpointed as to who it was?
Yeah, try and find them first, I think is the problem.
That's it. I mean, there is, but broadcast as it is, I think just mentioning a few names and it's a few statements isn't just going to put it up. It has to be something that's really, really bad, I think, for
Right.
people to go for. But it's Chinese whispers, isn't
Yes.
it? To the biggest degree. And I have to say, sometimes it is perpetuated actually within the media. So what can we say?
Very
But
true.
it's a lot of you can get to the bottom of things, but it takes a long time. A lot of fact checking, speaking to the palace, getting them to verify certain things. But it's become so big now that it is very hard to keep the truth flowing. But I'm always, for me, it's something really important, and so I go for it. But it does take a lot of time. One of those things.
Any idea if the palace has full-time people on just this particular issue?
Oh, yeah, they have their PR teams. So they have their PR teams working all the time on various things, but they don't. They're not going to give out information. For instance, yes, they'll reply to certain questions, but they're not going to be giving. We think this is our side of the story. It's not what the royal family does. So that makes it very hard. So then if you're talking about, the Sussexes versus, here in the UK, they can sort of perpetuate their narrative, whereas the royal family will keep stum. And actually, it is a known fact that you just work hard, you work through it, all the murmurs and the sound around you, and do the bigger thing and get on with things, and it moves forward. I think sometimes if you have a narrative that you want to control, let's just say a victim narrative, it doesn't serve you well in the long run. That's my feeling. But I don't know what it's like there in the States for you. I don't know what you're hearing exactly. Although I'm doing things for Fox all the time. That's my only indication. But it's interesting because can you say, JACALYN? Are you able to?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. There's always, I guess, another story came out that Harry was snubbed yet again. But when they went through the details, it seemed like they were the same details that we already knew about, but it was a new headline, for example. I don't know. And also about Meghan's, what kind, does she have some product that she launched? I can't remember what it is. Something.
Jam.
Yeah.
Jam, and soon to be lots of other products as well. Yeah. So that's happening.
Very expensive jam as well, I believe.
Are you both jam eaters or jam lovers?
Oh, yes.
I do value jam, but I'm not a particular. I don't eat too much of it. Now and then I'll think, oh, okay, but not really.
I just saw a video that our dear friend Philip did. I guess he was on a flight somewhere from Virgin Airlines, and he was going to a afternoon tea or some kind of tea, and he had a scone, however you pronounce it, and he shared that he was putting a very large amount of cream on there with a dollop, I guess, of jam. So it looked really delicious as far as I'm concerned.
Was that on a flight, do you think?
It was on a flight, yes.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
He lives an interesting life. He travels quite a bit.
He does, doesn't he?
Yes,
Philip.
He really does. Well, while we have a few minutes before we really get into it, I would love for each of you to share something that you're working on, maybe that you'd like our audience to know about, because usually we go right into the news or the presentation. So we'll start with Helena.
What am I working on? Okay, so I'm always working on loads of different things. Goodness me, look where I am. Look at my background. I'm just going out for a sunbathe at some point. Well, actually, no, maybe that's the wrong time. No, I'm doing my work all the time, but I do give myself pockets of time things. And at the moment, I've just suddenly decided, okay, I'm going for it. I'm going to be the best gardener I can. And this is just part of my social life, not my work. And we have at the moment an enormous amount of rain, as usual, although it was bright sunshine at the beginning of the week. So I decide, if I can, whatever, even if it's slightly dark or whatever, I will get out and do 15 minutes of something in the garden. Because one, it's very good for grounding. It's very good for well-being, but also very good to help my garden get along, because at the moment it's a bit of a jungle. So I've been doing some de-weeding, and not completely de-weeding, because it is very in to have a sort of wild garden. So I'm quite pleased about that. So that's my little snippet of my personal bit of fun that I've been doing, that I share with you.
Thank you so much. I love it. We have a show on Mondays, actually 2 episodes. It's called A Woman's Prerogative, and I'd love for you to join us, Helena. We just talked about flowers. If I were a flower, I would be ... And the topic of dandelions came up, which are considered to be a weed, and you're supposed to let them grow because the honeybees are attracted to them, and it's another place for them to get what they need to do their work.
Absolutely, and that's so important. And thinking about the royal parks and all the flowers and wonderful things there, and obviously our change in climate means that our weather's just not as certain as it used to be years ago. So the bees really do suffer. They come out thinking, oh, it's time, to build their nest and various things, and all of a sudden it's freezing and there's no food. Can't pollinate. It's interesting, and something that everybody needs to know about. I feel quite passionately about it. It's not for now, I know, but thank you.
I agree with you. We have another show called Coexistence and Sustainability every Friday, and we talk about all of these topics. So I'm right there with you. Simon McDonald, you were just saying before the show began that you were literally on roller skates, zooming from here to there. Tell us about something you're working on.
Not enough hours in the day at the moment, which is great. But with the garden here, well, I've been watering it every single day. I'm sorry, Helena, but where we are today, it's beautiful. Lovely sunshine, fantastic weather. The bees are busy away. Your dandelions there, makes a nice cup of tea, the dandelions do. Dandelion tea, fantastic. But yes, the garden is needing constant watering. It's everything is really sort of dried up. The month of May, and I always reckon that May and September can be the best 2 months of the year in Scotland. And this May has certainly proven me right in that. It's been fantastic weather, and we've really had high temperatures, clear blue skies, absolutely fantastic. Long may it continue. Unfortunately, work has been interfering somewhat, and all of a sudden I seem to be in demand this week and be getting calls, at strange hours of the night, and emails and WhatsApps and so on coming in as well. So been asked to do a lot of speaking, particularly on the blue economy, which is becoming pretty hot news on everybody's lips just now. And it's with the weather and climate change we've been experiencing around the world, the issue is that land that has been used for crops and for grazing livestock on is literally getting washed away, or if it's hyper dry, the soil's getting blown away. So the importance now for feeding it is to look to the waterways, to the sea in particular, as a sustainable source of nutritious food. And one kilo of fish as opposed to 1 kilo of grain. Well, the fish has got about between 10 and 20 times the nutritional value of that same weight of grain. So with fish, a little goes a long way, and the world's got to wake up to the fact now we do have to make these changes. So I'm having to yak and speak away in all sorts of places as well. In fact, I've got a meeting on Sunday with leaders of all nations international, to which I'm involved in. So I'm giving a piece again on the blue economy and the need to diversify and look towards the marine environment for our nutrition.
Well, thank you. That's important work as well. Thank you, both of you, for taking the time to be here when you're doing all these other things. I really appreciate it. I just have one selfish plug, which is my new book is coming out. Woo! Lady Ella joins the gym. So she comes back from the solar system, and Mother Earth says, listen, you really need to take some time for yourself. You've been flying around. And so she joins the gym, and then she meets these wonderful animals there, and they're really pushing themselves too hard, and they also have some confrontation in their relationship. So she works with the lion and the phoenix bird so that they can listen to their bodies and also listen to each other. So
That sounds lovely.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. What a lovely story.
It's a lot of fun. So, all right. Well, I guess we're going to jump into the news. We're going to go over to you, Helena. Yay!
Woo! Okay, so I am going to give my royally rich roundup, I think, of the week. I've had so many people asking, where is the Princess of Wales? How is she? How's she doing? And I would like just to say that she actually is doing well, in that she's obviously recuperating, but she will not be coming out to do work, as in work that we can see, until she's given that green light. And obviously the Prince of Wales is is getting on with his work, and he's out and about, and that's a key signal as well that she's doing quite well. So I thought I'd just share that at the moment. But here in London, it's a time that for me that I've obviously let you into a secret about what I do behind the scenes. Just now and then I try and give myself that time to do some things in the garden. But the lovely thing about London, despite the fact it's a bit boggy at this moment, is London is in bloom. So what I mean by that is RHS Chelsea Flower Show is on, and it's something I look forward to personally each year. It's absolutely, and the lovely thing about this year is it was sunny. It was bright sunshine on a special day when the King and Queen were invited as VIP guests to come and have a wander through the gardens, speak to people. And that actually was on Monday, I believe, when it was bright sunshine, when I was actually doing this little gardening as well. The King is a patron of the Chelsea Flower Show, and there's so much going on there. And I don't know if everyone remembers, but last year the Princess of Wales was absolutely involved hugely in creating things and sitting down on the floor with lots of children and getting muddy and speaking to children about mental wellness and things. So again, thinking of her at this time, but as we know, and this year the theme is the next generation of gardeners. So a lot of children have been part of creating certain gardens, and one particular garden is called No Adults Allowed garden, which I think is quite fun. So they obviously have made their secret dens and have been growing things, and it's very much about growing things to live on and eat, and everything tastes far nicer when you actually you grow it yourselves. But it was lovely to see Sullivan primary school students. They were sort of showing the King and Queen the garden that they've made, and they gave them these special badges, which I thought was really quite fun. And it was lovely to see King Charles chuckling as well. So he was called King of Compost, which I think is very fitting, and Queen Camilla was called Queen of Bees, which again I think very fitting. So that was really lovely to see. So they had a lot of chatting to the children, and just talking about the gardens, and I think it was really lovely to see. And I believe we've got a photograph. Yeah, there we have. So that's King and Queen, obviously the children, and you always have the standard photograph taken, but it's great to have that interaction as well for the King and Queen with younger people, because that will remember them that special day forever. So lovely to see. And also Dame Judi Dench, who I also view as a queen personally. She was given a seedling from the sycamore gap tree. Now I think we've spoken about that in the past. Unfortunately, the wonderful tree in Northumberland, that was cut down, unfortunately. So there have been some seedlings taken from this tree, which are obviously being given out. So she has taken the seedling and it's been given to the National Trust Octavia Hill Garden Horticulture place. So I just think it's great to think that a little snippet of that will grow up. So although we're sad about the sycamore gap tree, which was really, really sad, I'm not too sure whether they've been trialed yet, the two lads that cut it down, but great to think we're going to have lots more sycamore trees growing. So that's really good. And so it was just full of wonderful people on that special day. It was like horticultural glamour, and that's what I'd call it. And although the Princess of Wales was missed, everyone's been thinking of her. And she was presented as well with a landmark report, which she was very excited about, because as we know, the importance of early childhood is something that Kate really works on. She's worked on it now for 10 years, and this actually is her life's work. So, and what a great thing to work on. And it's basically, this report is saying that everything that she's working on could boost the UK economy by 45 billion a year, which is humongous, obviously. And this is, so the name of the report is Prioritising Early Childhood for a Happier, Healthy Society. This little bit is really for businesses, and it's promoting really to help young families, etc., that have children, work with them, allow them to take time off to look after their children. So it becomes like it's a bigger thing. It's not just about one person looking after a child. If everyone's part of it, it's going to really help our society in years to come. So I'm really pleased that she's received that, because she's worked very hard on it, and it must be a real little boost for her, because obviously she's undergoing treatment at the moment, and I'm sure we'll see her in due course, but it's a little boost for her, so that really pleases me. And also just today, it's been released a new painting of the Princess of Wales, and this has been painted by, actually, I don't know the artist, but she's a British Zambian artist, Hannah Uzor. There we go. She painted this picture because she was just enamored really by Kate's courage and her dignity. And this was taken from her first state banquet that she was on this year. And this is actually this is the front cover of the July Tatler. And I mean, again, everyone's on social media saying, "Oh my goodness, doesn't it anything like her?" I sort of get it, but there's some kind of elegance there and strength that I quite like about this picture. There's something that's just very elegant, and yeah, I do like it. Although I have to say, I do think she does look a bit like the Princess Mary of Denmark. If everybody knows her, I don't know, but then there is a similarity between the Princess of Wales and the Princess Mary of Denmark. So not so bad, but beautiful to see, which is really lovely. And moving on from there, again, there's a slight link here, because I think the Princess of Wales was due to attend a garden party and isn't able to. Lovely to see, and it's something that I've been talking about hugely. Is that wanting Prince William to have his cousins around him, and although they're not working members of the royal family, they're still royal family no matter what, and it's come true. So I'm really pleased. So this is about family unity. So the Prince of Wales has, we've seen loads of pictures of him, and at his first garden party of the year, which I believe is the 4th garden party, and his cousins have come out to help him as well. So it was soggy lawns, but beautiful lawns, because it's at Buckingham Palace Gardens. So he hosted it, but his cousins joined him. And so that's the Prince and Princess, the Princes Beatrice and Eugenie, Peter Phillips, Zara and Mike Tyndall. And I just love that. Do you know, I just think that look that Zara's got is actually quite beautiful. That's called an Isabel tea dress that she's wearing. And I think that's great. And obviously there's Prince William chatting to people. he had some quips, how funny, swimming. Obviously, the weather's for swimming because I think the Olympic swimming team there. But everybody, no matter what, everyone's spirits were high and they were chatting, drinking tea and sandwiches. And there were various people there for the Prince and Princess of Wales, yeah, patronages and passion projects, people from there. So there was the Homewards Trust and various other people. And I just think the support and that unity was absolutely wonderful. And the fun thing about garden parties is it's a memory. So if you're invited, it's such a lovely thing to endure because you've got you get dressed up in your finest, and you're chatting to the royal family. You've got the brass bands playing, and it's just a really lovely time to have by all. And on the whole, I think each little tea party is something like 20,000 sandwiches and 20,000 slices of cakes are eaten, and 27,000 cups of tea. And you need something like 400 waiting staff just to be there. But it's interesting that that's the fourth one. And I look forward to the Princess of Wales also being able to join everybody. But how lovely. Although not, formal members of the royal family, they just came out in unity. It doesn't mean they're going to be working all the time, but it's lovely to see. So that's really, really good. And we have the Prince's Trust, I think, is the next one I want to speak about. So the Prince's Trust is incredibly important, has been for years and years. Although I'm saying the Prince's Trust, I have been told that it's the King's Trust now, because obviously when Charles became king, everything was changing over. But obviously, it's been the Prince's Trust for longer than the King's Trust. So we saw the wonderful awards ceremony that took place yesterday. So the Prince's Trust and TK Maxx and HomeSense Awards ceremony, celebrating all the extraordinary people that have achieved. These are young people that have achieved so much. With the Prince's Trust support, and it's sort of all about their journey and their futures. And the lovely thing about it is these young people that do so well then become complete advocates, and they do great speeches and go out and speak to people. It's almost like being on the cusp of going down the wrong path, and then imagine coming back and doing great things. To remember that Prince Charles set up the Prince's Trust in 1976, all those years ago, and that was to help young, disadvantaged young people to obviously help them in education and training. And so last night we had Anton Deck was actually hosting this event at the Theatre Royal, Drury Lane. Everyone was dressed in various things. Everyone knew really how to dress. It was absolutely raining, etc. So you could see everyone turning up in their umbrellas. But Anton Deck, very well known over here as hosting various things for hosting. There they are. They are Ant and Deck. But lots of people won awards, and the one I'm always interested in, the Amal Clooney Empowerment Award, and I know that somebody called Artie won that this year, but I'm not 100% sure of all the winners. But the good news is today they are being hosted, the winners, at Buckingham Palace. So the King is going to be there, and there's going to be lots of photographic opportunities and chatting. So a good day had by all. So I look forward to hearing how that's gone or how that will be going. I think that's it. I think that's where I'm going to round up. I have other things too, but I think that gives an idea of a sunny and rainy UK and all the royal little snippets that are going on.
I absolutely love it. We're in the garden and then it's raining, then it's all over. But by the way, I have to say, I agree with you. I love this dress. What did you say this is called?
It is called an Isabel tea dress. And I know that tea dress. Now, Zara Phillips has actually worn this before, but the difference is you can't actually tell from that picture. I apologise, but it's pink buttons and also accessorised with a pink hat and pink shoes, and obviously the needed little plastic bit on the heel so you don't disappear into the mud. But yeah, I think she looks great. But don't you think she looks like Mary Poppins?
Yes, exactly. And by the way, you mentioned the little things on the heels. I remember I was watching a Shark Tank episode and nobody had invented it as of yet. And the person came on the carpet and I don't know who it was, but invested it. It's such a great thing. Just yesterday, I got my heel stuck in the pavement. I was like, oh, if this heel breaks off, I'm going to scream. But fortunately, it didn't. Thank you.
I actually did that as well the other week. I was going to a studio, but my shoe was made of suede, so it did go down into things, but it's completely like scraped the suede off. So
that makes
it's a problem, isn't it?
Yes,
you need that cover. There's not much I can do, but there you are.
Simon doesn't have these problems.
I know.
I did have one incident of a similar ilk. I had my leg in plaster. I had pinged a tendon, and I was rushing through bottom end of the garden at the house where I was living then, and it was very boggy down there, very muddy. And I was, of course, had these crutches and was hobbling down there, and so fast that the crutches dug into the ground. But I didn't. Momentum took over, and I just shot forward and landed spread-eagled on the ground, face down in the mud. And these two crutches were sticking up like goalposts behind me. And
oh my gosh.
Yes,
I'm sorry to laugh because it's not funny, but
yeah.
You're here to tell the tale. You're here to tell the tale, which is that's
I'm glad that you're okay. Helena, before you go, I just wanted to say something about this. I think this is quite beautiful, and you're right. I'm not sure. I'm looking at the face and the hair. I think it's not spot on, but similar.
It just the feel. Probably got more teeth, poise and strength, and kind of unassuming strength that she's definitely caught. I decided I really liked it. But if you did,
actually very elegant.
Yes.
Definitely.
I like the heading there that says "Money Talks," and I thought, yeah, I've heard that one before. Money talks like goodbye.
See you later. Bye bye. Flying out of your wallet. By the way, do either of you carry a wallet? I know many places in the States, people don't even use cash anymore. And then I've seen places that are cash only. It's kind of interesting, but it used to be almost like watches. I mean, I'm wearing my Apple Watch and I'm wearing my Good Watch, but many people have done away with watches because you can get your time off your phone. What about wallets? Do you still carry a wallet?
I do. Yeah. A lot of moths in it.
I absolutely do, and interestingly as well. I mean, I like that kind of thing. I like to be able to use cash, and I really do hope that people. I know people are trying to push it out, but I just think it's a very unfair situation, especially for people of a certain age. Who are used to working with money and banks and various things. But something I saw today was and they do this all the time. They say, oh, for anyone that has cash, and today it's a pound coin, so that the pound coin sterling, there's a certain pound coin that's worth a fortune if you've got to look through. Gosh, I obviously I didn't know we were going to talk about it, but it was to do with it's a slight error on the coin, so it's not worth a pound coin. It's obviously worth hundreds, thousands. So, and I thought I have actually because I've got some pound coins ready to change up. And I've got to take them either to the bank or you have these machines. And it made me think, oh, actually, I'm going to go through them. Why not? I'll report back and let you know whether I've got something.
Yeah, from
Fantastic.
somewhere in the Caribbean or the south of France.
You'll see me somewhere else next week.
I have a quick funny story because we're talking about money, but I went to the ATM. I don't know if you call them ATMs over there, but I went to the ATM. I was in my car and actually was making a deposit, and I stuck my card in and I had it in the wrong way. So I had to take it out and put it back in. So when I went to put it back in, it flew out of my hand. And here I was in the drive-through lane, people behind, and it was sort of on a curve, and everyone had to go back, and I had to get out of the car. I'm all dressed up. I'm looking around for this card. It's like 90 some degrees, and people are like, oh, it was really funny. I thought it was hilarious, but you have to be able to laugh at yourself,
That's
right?
funny. Yeah, absolutely. Goodness.
Well, Simon, we're over to you for your presentation. And Helena, thank you for being with us today. It's an absolute honor.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you again, and see you next week.
See you next
Take
week.
care, everybody.
Bye for now. All right, over to you, Simon.
Well, this week I am going to speak about what I was supposed to be speaking about last week, but unfortunately I didn't make it here. And the week before, I had been talking about the Selkies, which are the seal folk. And so this week I thought I'd sort of link on with that and talk about the Kelpies. The Kelpies are really, they're a piece of mystical history and legend and extraordinary things. Today, in fact, there's Kelpies have been made in the form of horses' heads that stand near the Forth and Clyde Canal, and these Kelpie heads are so beautifully made in steel, and they stand at 95 feet high. So I can assure you, the Kelpie of mythical character is not 90 feet high like these chaps are, but it's a very impressive sight when you're driving past and you suddenly see these two rearing horse heads, just so beautifully made. But anyway, to explain myself once more about the Kelpies, so get yourself ready, because a shrill neigh fills the air around you. A thick green mist envelopes you and blurs your vision of the path before you. You only had to make it down to the water and back home with a bucket of water full. But now it's too late. The dangerous creature your mother and grandmother warned you about is within mere feet of you. You never believed it until now. So come with me on a safe journey to the water's edge, where we'll peer into the life and legend of the Kelpies. Mythical Celtic water horses they are. We'll also hear tales of actual Kelpie sightings, not only in the British Isles, but worldwide as well. So what are these mystical, elusive Kelpies exactly? So to put it simply, Kelpies are mythical water creatures from the Celtic lands that typically manifest as white or black phantom horses near bodies of water. Some sources claim that the Kelpies haunt running bodies of water like rivers and streams, while others claim that they also haunt the lochs and the lakes of both fresh and seawater. There are multiple names for Kelpies, depending on the country and the region. In the Orkney and Shetland Islands, they're called nuggies, and you'll also hear them referred to as ushkes and fua, which means literally water horses. And that's in Scotland and Ireland. Then in Cornwall, in the southwest of England, the Kelpie is called the Shoni, and potentially echoing from the old pagan goddess of the sea called Sion, and brought to the Isles by the Norse Vikings. Sion is one of the goddess Frigg's handmaidens, and specifically known for her domain over affection. She watches over children and stirs up affection between two individuals, including between children and parents, people and animals and others. She's a peacemaker and aids in relationship bonds. Her powers seem to be direct opposition to what the Kelpie's legend states, but unlike so many other fairies and mythical creatures, the Kelpie was once a benevolent creature who was demonized by the church over time. Another interesting connection between the Kelpie and the Norse Germanic beliefs is the water horse spirit called the Nihur or Ninur. And these are apparently names of Odin, the All-Father mentioned in the Eddas. He appears always in the form of a fine dapple grey horse on the seashore, but he may be distinguished from ordinary horses by the circumstance of his hoofs actually being reversed. So if anyone's so foolish as to mount him, he gallops off and plunges into the sea with his burden. He can, however, be caught in a particular manner and tamed and made to work. The word Kelpie is believed to translate to colt, but no one knows the true origins of the word. Remember, in those days, the language was spoken and it was really rarely written. So the meanings tend to really get a little bit lost in time. I can't help but notice the correlation between the word Kelpie and the word kelp, and the kelp, of course, referring to a brown algae seaweed that's pervasive in waters throughout the world. Interestingly, scholars, well, they aren't sure of where the word kelp actually originates from either. Perhaps there's a connection. Was it the Kelpie that was called first, or was it the kelp that came first? So what do water kelpies look like? Well, when kelpies manifest, they're typically either white or black horses with dripping wet manes and tails. Sometimes their hooves are backwards, and sometimes they have greenish glow or a tint to their fur. But kelpies, they're almost always seen at the water's edge or very close to the water. And kelpies use their magic and their shape-shifting abilities to lure animals, humans, and other fairies towards them. Then they kidnap and drown their prey in their watery homes when they're in human form, and then they wear green clothing sometimes. Their wet hair typically gives them away. Sometimes you'll even see seaweed stuck in their hair, or wet footprints behind them. That reminds me when I come out of the sea myself. No, I'm not neighing today. It's generally known that the kelpies are solitary creatures, haunting lakes, rivers, and streams alone. But they tend to exert the same qualities, and this is what we know that kelpies do. 1, they manifest as horses near bodies of water. They shapeshift into attractive young men and women. They act docile to lure in their prey. They kidnap humans, animals, and other fairies. They drown their prey. Sometimes they sing or talk to lure their victims. Sometimes they capture humans and take them as their husbands or wives. They kidnap young women as midwives and wet nurses even. And they can summon up floods to use in capturing prey. Well, most people are inclined to believe the Kelpie is a type of fairy or elemental, a guardian of ancient waterways, particularly in Scotland and Ireland. However, it's interesting to note that water horses and creatures similar to the Kelpie are found all over Europe, and were even reportedly seen in the New World. Settlers in Maryland claimed that there were Kelpies in the Chesapeake Bay and in its tributaries as well. Their shape-shifting abilities point towards their affinity with the fairy folk. All mythical water creatures have this ability to change form from horse or other creature into a beautiful young maiden or strapping young man, just like the Selkies, the seal folk. With a mission of luring their prey even ever closer, sometimes to marry them and take them to the other world. When we think of the Kelpie in a human-shifted form, we see clear resemblance to the Germanic Nixie or the Faroese Nicker. The Nicker particularly, as it's a water entity that typically appears as a white horse. All of these beings are referred to as water sprites by folklorists, so we can also apply this train of thought to the Celtic water Kelpies. Well, since the ancient Celts believed the other world, or the afterlife, the land of the Fae was located under the sea, and it's not far-fetched to think that the Kelpie was originally a psychopomp. A psychopomp being a spiritual guide that leads souls to the other side upon their death. Horses, especially white horses, are intricately woven in Celtic mythology and lore, and they're considered otherworldly creatures and appear in the myths of time, accompanying a hero or a god or being the embodiment of a goddess. There were prevalent horse cults stretching across the ancient world, including in Europe with the Greeks, the Celts, the Germanic and Slavic tribes, and as well as in India and Mongolia too. Well, horses were sacred animals with divine powers, and they were often linked to the deities who ruled over polar domains like life and death, day and night, and the sun and the moon. In ancient Ireland, Masha was a horse goddess who presided over the sun, fertility, motherhood, but also over war and death. To the ancient Slavs, their gods, Chernobog and Belobog, were the personification of night and day, as well as life and death, and they were frequently depicted as riding a black horse and a white horse, respectively. The goddess Rhiannon, a fairy princess from the Welsh otherworld, rides a white horse in the MACDONALD. The Norse Valkyries ride horses made of white clouds. It's even said that Poseidon was originally a white horse emerging from the ocean waves. Even if he wasn't a water horse himself, he fathered two divine horses, Pegasus and Arion. Sailors were known to drown horses as a sacrifice to Poseidon before long journeys across the sea, and this was to appease the powerful sea god. Some even believe water kelpies might be the ghosts of those sacrificed horses from ancient times. But water kelpies, they're typically seen as one of two colours, black or white. So the question is, are water kelpies a misunderstood and misconstrued remnant of ancient horse cults and deities? Well, the fact that most legends tell of kelpies dragging people underwater to their deaths points to an earlier belief in otherworldly guides who symbolically protected souls on their way to the afterlife. Perhaps twisting and demonizing the myths of ancient horse gods into human-devouring kelpies made it easier for the church to convert pagans. Now, we've all heard of Loch Ness here in Scotland, and we've known all the legends there. But you've likely heard of it because of the ages-old legend of the cryptid named Nessie, or the Loch Ness Monster. Fascinatingly, the famous loch has also been a haunt for the water kelpie in older times. Once a father, mother and son, they lived near Loch Ness. The winter had been harsh, the father found himself weak, and they had no livestock. Well, one night the man spotted a large horse grazing near Loch Ness, and he decided to try and mount the horse and bring it home to aid in ploughing the fields. His wife warned him against it, saying the horse was no horse, but it was a water kelpie, and that no man could tame a kelpie with a plain rope. Well, the man ignored his wife's desperate pleas and mounted the kelpie. The water horse grew 2 times to its size, sparks shot out from under its gigantic hooves, and it suddenly started breathing fire. Its mane turned into green snakes and grasped the man's hand firmly. Well, the man tried to fight his way off, and the kelpie took him off towards the water, but to no avail. The mother and the boy grew hungrier and weaker by the day. 3 times the boy meets a spae wife, or wise woman, who eventually gives him 3 magical items and 3 pertinent pieces of advice. And when he attempts to catch the kelpie, he's successful, using the spae wife's charms. A shawl to use as a saddle over the kelpie's back, salt that killed the serpents in the kelpie's mane, and an iron horse bridle. So the next time you're looking out to sea or over a large lake when it's very windy, stop and think. Are the white horses you see, are they water and waves, or are they kelpies?
Woo! I love that. By the way, this is so pretty.
Yes, it's amazing. I'll actually be driving past those in a few days' time, going down to speak in Scottish Parliament about blue economy again, another call I've had. So I'll be passing by Falkirk on the way down. It'll be daylight, but it'll be dark when I come back, so they will be lit up like that. And it's such a wonderful sight to see these. And it just, just sort of creep up. You're driving along the road and you think, wow. And it's a phenomenal job they've done making those.
And if you were to stand next to it, we couldn't even see you probably, right?
No, they're between 95 and 100 feet tall, so they are absolutely massive. I mean, the photograph doesn't really give the justice to size. I think you probably need to have something beside it, maybe a car or something like that, because a human standing beside it would just look like a speck. So, yeah.
Do they have doors? Like, is there any way to get inside?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't think so. I mean, they're there as standing sculptures, basically.
Okay. Because, you know, like the Statue of Liberty, I've never actually been to the Statue of Liberty, but I just wonder, is there anything inside there that people could see?
Well, the Statue of Liberty, yeah, I mean, you can climb up to the top of that.
Yeah,
That was a gift to New York from France.
I remember. Have you
Uh,
been?
she- she's a French lady, yes.
Have you been to see her?
No, but I've seen her little sister in France.
Well, it's been a very exciting show. Thank you. I know you have something more for us on this day. Yes?
Yes, I do indeed. Right, yes, because on this day in 1455 was the opening battle in England's 30-year War of the Roses. And Richard of York took St Albans, capturing it for King Henry IV. In 1819, the steamship Savannah set sail from Savannah Harbor in Georgia on a historic journey to become the first steam-propelled vessel to cross the Atlantic Ocean. Birthdays today, well, we've got Sir Conan Arthur Doyle, as the Scottish author who brought Sherlock Holmes to life twice, and is a Scotsman. He was born in Edinburgh. And that was in 1859, yeah. So in 1970, supermodel Naomi Campbell, the English supermodel and actress, was born in London. She's 53 today. Happy birthday, Naomi. Actually, I was at a dinner party and she was there one evening as well. It was quite an entertaining evening, but I can't tell you about that on television. So deaths today, oh dear, here we are. In 337 AD, on this day, Constantine the Great, Emperor of Rome, who adopted Christianity, died age 47. Then in 1802, Martha Washington, the first US First Lady, died age 70. So there we have on this day for today. I actually had to search pretty hard and wide because there were not so many birthdays about. I knew about Naomi's birthday, but and there were not. It was just one of these days when there was not a heck of a lot happening. So
That doesn't happen very often either.
well, that's it. They didn't have USA Global TV in those days. So.
Well, thank you so much, Simon. It's always a delight, and we will be back next week. What would you like to share with our audience about how people can reach out to you, how they can hire you, how they can work with you?
Well, join the queue. Yeah, you can email me at macdonaldsimon@ymail.com. You can find me on LinkedIn or Facebook or Instagram, all the usual places. And there's the QR code there on the screen as well. So if you're sitting there doodling on your phone, look up for a second and grab a shot of the QR code. Everybody seems to be using these nowadays, and that'll have me on it. So what do I say now? Really, I mean, we can easily complain because rose bushes have thorns, but you can just as easily rejoice because thorn bushes have roses.
It's all in the perspective, isn't it?
Isn't it just? Yes.
Yes, it is. Well, thank you kindly for being here and for another stellar presentation. I really appreciate you.
I really enjoyed it. It's, I just felt so sorry I wasn't here last week and so on. I missed you guys. I missed you dreadfully. So, this is, I really look forward to Wednesday. It's just a magical day.
Well, we look forward to having you here as well. So thank you.
All right.
Okay, bye for now.
Bye just now, and we'll see you next week.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Please do reach out to Simon. Please also reach out to Helena. You can find both of them on Facebook, Simon McDonald, Helena CHARD. You can find them on LinkedIn. You can find them on Instagram. Connect with them. They'd love to hear from you. Our next show is coming up. It's Anne Scotland's show. She actually has 2 shows with us now. So it's Podcast Maestro, and the name of the show is Launch It. Everything you need to know about having your own podcast. Followed by The Royally Rich Lifestyle Show, starring Mr. Ian Pelham-Turner, our dear friend, and Helena CHARD, and sponsored by the British School of Excellence and Mr. Philip Sykes. And after that, we have a very special episode about cyber security, everything that you need to know. This is such a fascinating topic. We have a new team member, Dr. Felix Kravitz, who's joining us. He's a professor and he's an expert when it comes to cybersecurity. And something that I learned from him just the other day is that if you're going to be doing your banking, don't do your banking from the same device that you're doing all of your other work. So, for example, if you have one computer and you're using that for everything, don't do your banking on your computer. Do your banking on your phone. Have different email addresses for your banking than you have for other things. So tips like that, and also a lot of the scams that are going on with artificial intelligence, as well as phone calls that you might be getting, or phishing scams, not the fish that Simon loves so much, but phishing with a PH. So do tune in for that. That's at 2 o'clock Eastern time, which is 7 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. Thank you again for being here. We look forward to seeing you shortly. Bye for now.
The last few days have been really amazing. I had a trainer course from the British School of Etiquette.
And I must say it's been one of the best decisions I've ever made and one of the best investments I've made in my own training and development.
Now, words alone will not describe the transformation and the positive path that I have traveled with the British School of Etiquette.
I find really I learned a lot from the lessons this time I came.
The last few days with the British School of Etiquette have been fantastic.
And what I've learned now is really beyond my expectations.
This is the most rewarding experience and the best investment I have made this year.
It was just great. I learned so much, and when I go back to Belgium I will incorporate a lot of it into my day-to-day life and business.
It's been absolutely wonderful for the whole week that we were here.
I feel transformed, and I feel like blowing a trumpet and tell people, come and do this school, this class is the best, this is the best school ever.
You should take it. It will change your life immediately.
I am now able to teach other people how to bring the best of them.
Thank you.
Thank you, BSc.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.